In this analysis, femininity, sexuality, and trans identity will be discussed through the representations in Euphoria. The popular new HBO show follows the life of 17-year-old Rue as she returns to high school from rehab. This show has garnered significant attention for depicting how teens live today, and it goes a long way to destigmatize marginalized gender identities and challenge traditional masculinity. The cast is highly diverse in terms of race, sexuality, gender, and the show's storyline pushes against societal conventions at every turn. Euphoria challenges the gender binary by refusing to make gender the focal point of character development. Instead, gender is presented as but one aspect of a character's identity. For example, Jules is introduced as a cool, stylish, eccentric young woman from New York City. Jules is transgender, but this is not revealed to the audience right away, and when it is revealed, it is shown as inconsequential instead of a plot twist. The audience gets to know Jules, the person, first. However, her representation of being transgender follows what it means to be a real girl. Jules has a conversation with a friend, Anna, and mentions her quest to conquer femininity.
It's not like I even want to conquer it. It's like I want to fucking obliterate it and then move on to the next level.
And while that is the first time the concept of what it means to be feminine has been explicitly mentioned, it's not the first time the show has examined the intricacies and hazards of this particular and narrow construct. Euphoria has previously addressed the subject through listing what Nate likes in girls, how Maddie navigates that like in men to get what she wants, and now how Jules simultaneously finds herself having to adhere to this construct even as she seeks to break it. Interactions between Nate, Maddie, and Jules have illustrated that one must adhere to the rigid rules and regulations of the gender binary when it comes to femininity, or to be punished, singled out, or scorned for it. Jules' character arc challenges all of that, illustrating that femininity can be fashioned as a weapon by those who have to live by it, but ultimately it's a concept that can, has been, and continues to be twisted to oppress. Jules is primarily concerned with leveling up and becoming the person she was always meant to be, which is a normal teenage girl, but her status as someone who happens to be trans challenges conventional gender roles, gender constructs, and puzzles gender binary proponents like Nate. If Nate is a definer and protector of femininity and Maddie is a veteran navigator of it, Jules is a disruptor. Jules recognizes and plays into certain norms, but in her case, it's more about safety than climbing the social ladder.
I think Jules is in constant search of affirmation and love. Jules being trans feminine and having this relationship to womanhood, seeing women in her life being treated a certain way by men. I think it goes back to like something deep-rooted, like transitioning, wanting to be treated a certain way by a man in order to feel like a woman in this very binary vantage point.
As a trans girl, Jules has to play ball to minimize backlash that can come with defying binary thinking and living outside the gender binary for people like Nate's father, Cal, who displays fear seeing her outside the confines of his motel room, or Nate, who seems to be obsessed with her while also actively trying to destroy her life. Jules doesn't check off half the things on Nate's proper girl list, but that means she does check off the other half, and that seems to be confusing and infuriating for an abusive and controlling misogynistic gender essentialist like him. Jules' relationship to femininity is no doubt complicated by the fact that passing privilege, i.e. a trans person's ability to not be perceived as trans but instead as the gender by which they identify, is something that is perpetually at play when discussing the expectation that trans people should look a certain way in order to be accepted by the cishet masses. Jules also understands the limitations of femininity and how adhering to gender constructs can lead to suffering unnecessarily. She observes as much in Nate and his dad when she experiences both of their shady, confusing behavior firsthand. She also observes as much in herself when she discusses her relationship with men. She does not engage with them much outside of hooking up with them, but she states to Anna that, "If I can conquer men, then I can conquer femininity." By declaring this, Jules is effectively rejecting what it means to be a real girl, to instead be her own girl. Of course, even in 2019, this comes with the understanding that enforcers like Nate and navigators like Maddie may very well punish Jules' radical disruption of gender constructs because maintaining the status quo that grants them tenuous but assured power is more important to them than the freedom to exist on their own terms with no power or relative privilege at all.
I think Jules is at a really exciting moment with herself, and I hope people can feel that and let it hit them.